Welcome to the Real Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Tierras, and today we have a guest that specializes in real estate, and he does a lot of off-market purchases, a lot of rental properties. I mean, he has a great story. He drives a bad car, let me tell you. Looks awesome, great car. But I want to introduce you, Luigi. Luigi, thank you for being on the show, brother.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, man. You know, I first time I ever met you, I saw this blue car pulling in. It says what, Gran Turismo, or I don't know what
Vice City, GTA.
Vice City. There you go, Vice City. I'm gonna say, what the hell is this? Like, I'm in freaking one of those like, yeah, bro, that was crazy. So it's awesome. So tell me a little bit of how you got into like real estate and how you started your company, Off Market Deals.
So my name is Luigi. I run a business called Off Market Deals. I also have a networking company called REI Events as well, and we also do lending as well, off market funding. So for anybody that needs funding. So I started basically in 2015. I've been a landlord for about 10 years now, and I've been in wholesaling for about 5 years. So I got into wholesaling in December of 2019. So early 2020. So now I have about 5 years in the wholesale game, and I bought my first duplex when I was 23 years old and landed in Liberty City.
Wow.
I got an FHA. I had like $6,000, and I knocked on my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'd give you I need a loan for $8,000, and I'm gonna give you $10,000 back. So I'd give you 20% on her money. So I ended up putting $16,000 down. And then I went FHA, bought my first duplex for $118,000.
Wow.
That duplex today is paid off, thank God, and brings me about like $4,000 a month in rental income.
Nice.
And ever since then, I've just been stacking doors.
So how do you do? So let's talk about what how you get your leads. Are you knocking on doors to get those leads, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so when I first started, I was doing what you would say acquisitions. Basically, I would do 500 phone calls. 450 people would basically tell me to go fly kite, kick rocks. 50 of them would be warm, and 10 of them would be super hot, and I'd close one. So I knew from whenever I would get on the phone and make 500 phone calls, I know I would get one deal closed, which would make me at least $10,000. Well, at least that was my metrics.
Right.
But then fast forward, I was doing 1, 2, 3, 4 deals a month. I was doing okay. I ended up meeting one of my friends that I actually went to high school with, Henry. Henry Camejo, and also Ernie the title guy. Big shout out to Ernie. And we were like, hey, look, let's do these networking events. You have an office, and we ended up doing 2 networking events at Henry's office. And fast forward 3 years, we're doing monthly networking events, and that really propelled me from the 500 phone calls, 1, 2 deals, 3 deals, 4 deals closed a month, to having 20 deals on the board on a regular basis. So I really think that networking really helped me a lot. So guys, some advice is network. It truly is your net worth, and pretty much.
Oh, that's awesome. You've been in the business for 5 years, and you started with your first duplex.
Yes.
Right.
House hacking. House hacking. Yeah.
Right. So what do you do? What did you do after you closed that first one? Did you live the duplex?
Exactly.
Or
so
did you?
It was a 3-2 and a 1-1. And basically I would live on one side and rent the other, and then now I was living basically rent free, right? Because I actually cash flowed from day one like $500. My mortgage was nothing; it was like $900, and I think I rented the 3-2 for like $1,600 at that time, and I was like, oh, this is amazing, you know. I live for free, plus I make a little $500, and that's when I really was like, you know what, I need to keep buying rentals for the rest of my life, basically. You know, if I could buy 1-2 rentals a year that are gonna make me $1,000 each, you know, by 10 years, I'm gonna have $10,000 extra, you know, in cash flow, apart from my active income. So that's I think I manage about 30 rentals right now. I'm very big on the pad split. If anybody doesn't know what that is, it's co-living. So we have one in Pompano. We have like 8-bedroom pad split in Pompano, and we're just finishing a 9-bedroom pad split in Miami Gardens as well. And you know, our rents, you know, for a private bathroom, anywhere from $1,200 to just a private room, $1,000. So from a single family property, you're getting almost multi-family returns.
So tell me, so that's very interesting. So explain a little more what that pad split means and how it works, because you're saying you have, you know, 8 units, and then what, they're sharing a bathroom?
Yeah. So
like walk me through that.
Okay, so the one in Pompano, I believe maybe it might have been a triplex at one point, but it basically has 8 parking spots. It's on a corner. So visualize, it's on a corner, it has 8 legal parking spots, and it has 5 bathrooms.
Really?
Yeah, it has 5 bathrooms, 8 bedrooms, and then if you want your own private bathroom, you know, it's $1,200 plus like $60 utilities. And then if you want a shared bathroom with your private bedroom, it's about $1,000.
So it's kind of like, so you basically have like this big, like a dorm room per se, right?
Yeah, I mean, as like housing becomes more expensive, this is just the way that the market is going, you know.
So you're evolving to this because this is something new that you just started up. Is that?
Well, I mean, I think there's many terms for it. You know, if you ever lived with a roommate but we've kind of commercialized it where we gave it a name. Big shout out to the guys in Pad Split, and you know, Pad Split co-living. That's what we like to call it.
No, that's awesome. You know, I didn't really, I didn't know that was a big thing. And that's awesome that you bought something and it's better for you because you're gonna have a lot more return on your income.
For example, the one in Pompano, we paid $360 for it, right? We paid $360. It's making $8,500 a month. That's almost a 44% cash on cash return. I mean, I don't see anything else giving these type of returns. Month over month.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you go to the bank and they want to give you 1% or something, so that's a huge, difference. Let's talk a little bit about, so it's kind of cool. I really like that pad splitting. How do you, so now you started REI. Tell me how you started REI and because there's always, you picked a really good niche, right? You figured I need to meet all these people, and then you're on the phone and you're grinding it out, and then what got you to start thinking, man, I got to think outside the box and get a networking event on my own. How did you come up with that?
So I've always been interested in the investment groups, investing network at events, and I always knew that was an avenue where if it took me 500 phone calls to get a deal, where I can go on a networking event. Hey, this guy has a land deal that this other buyer was looking for, and I'm just a connector, right? So I would meet that guy at the networking event. He would give me that deal. I'd add $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on top. I'd sell it to that guy, and we'd do a JV. I'm like, well, why shouldn't I just do my own networking events and bring everybody there? And it just came together.
So it just evolved like that.
I would say so. I mean, a big part of it is Ernie. He helps me a lot, helping me with the venues, talking to sponsors. So it was like a collaborative effort, with Henry, myself, Ernie, and just putting our networks together. Now we also have John now. I saw that he was in your podcast as well. So it's just evolving, constantly evolving. If you're not growing, you're
you're dying.
You're dying.
Yeah, of course. Tony Robbins says that all the time. So that's something that rings true to a lot of people. So
Yes, sir.
if you're staying, the comfort zone is the bad thing.
Yes.
So that's good that you're out of the comfort zone. And I'm sure going into the events, it's kind of hard because you have all these people, all these things happening all at once. You had a really big one now, the 305 one.
Oh, the 305
which was
305
which was
day.
huge. So,
Actually, I named my daughter Mia for 305 Miami.
Nice.
So, 305 baby.
Yeah, nice.
Just to show my love for Miami, man.
No, but that was a big event, and
Yes.
you had a whole block party.
Yes.
People
Lincoln
that didn't
Street.
go out there. Lincoln Brewery in front of it. The whole block was packed. You had basically a stage with the DJ, and I mean things were like popping. A lot of people out there. A lot of celebrities. A lot of big name
Shout
people.
out to Lenny from Only in Date.
Yeah, only a date out there. You had a lot of people out there, so it was good. It was a good
I
turnout.
saw Axe Capital Lending sponsored as well the event. So shout out to you guys.
Yeah, of course. We always try to look out for each other.
Of course.
So how is tell me like when you first started your business, you started buying one property, right?
Yeah.
How did you then save the money to buy the next one?
It's a really funny story. In December, I would say November 2019, I was broke. I was working 12-hour shifts. I was, I remember going in 2 hours earlier and coming out 2 hours later just to make that overtime to survive. And I was just, it was just repetitive and just my paycheck was living paycheck to paycheck. I was like, there has to be something more,
Right.
And I was reading up about wholesaling. I was getting on investors list, Camilo Cashflow, shout out, Lex Levingrad, but I was stuck. I was like, okay, well, I need a deal, right? So it was December 2019. I had $363 in my bank account. I was walking my dog. And I literally, this is something that's called driving for dollars. Well, I was walking for dollars, and I look up and I see this land with overgrown grass and a violation. And I was like, you know what? I could sell that. So I grabbed that literally. I took a picture of the violation, took that information home, and I did something that's called skip tracing, where I find the name of the person that owned the lot. I did a little bit of research before I called him. I realized that he was like in his 60s. He literally had forgot he owned it, and I also did my comparable, where I found out the lot next door sold for $40,000. So that means that basically I had that for land. Always a rule of thumb, you have to get it at 50% face value, so somebody can jump on it wholesale, right? So that's what I do. I'm a wholesaler. So I prepped myself. I signed up for the free trial of DocuSign because I couldn't afford DocuSign back then. It was like $36 a month. So I signed up for the free trial of DocuSign. My chest is pumping. I call him. And he's like, what do you want? And I'm like, well, sir, I tell him, I'm an investor. I want to buy your property, but I don't want to offend you with my offer. He tells me, I'm a man. Give it to me straight. Well, sir, I'm at 15,000. He said, give me 20. You can take it. So from there, I'm like, yes, no problem. I get his email address. And then I'm looking at my Wells Fargo account. Nowadays, it's Chase, and I see my bank account says $386. So I'm in the contract, it's $20,000. I need to put EMD. I'm like, damn, let me check my bank account. It says $363. All right. So I put $100 in there. I type $100. I'm like, hey, whatever. What's gonna happen? I put like 30 days inspection. Send him the DocuSign. My chest is pumping. I'm like, 5 minutes later, bing, I get it signed. I was able to get that contract signed with an assignability clause, and then I gave it to literally a wholesaler that I met, through the networkings. And his name was Andres Ramirez. Shout out to Andres Ramirez from Blue Properties. In 48 hours, we sold that property for $35,000.
Wow.
And I never split the difference. I got 10, he got 5, and my bank account went from having $300 to $10,300. Yeah.
And like this.
Like that.
That's awesome.
So that was rundown on my first deal.
So that was your first, basically your first investment property that you like hustled to get, because that's awesome, man. Did you? So I'm curious. Did you read any books? So you have any to recommend to people out there that might help them if they want to do what you're doing, or?
Yeah. So big shout out to Lex Levingrad. He has a book out on wholesaling. I believe it's like $1 right now on Amazon. We can pull it up. I'll give you the link after.
Yeah.
So the author is Lex Levingrad. Let me see if I can pull it up here. One moment. If not, I'll send you guys the link later. One moment. But it's Camilo Castro also has a book on wholesaling, and David Ligon. So pretty big mentors to watch out for. And
so those are the books you think that they, somebody wants to get into that business or that space, read these books and it'll help them.
So the book is called Wholesaling Bank Old Properties by Lex Levingrad. We could probably zoom in later, but it's one of my mentors there.
Nice.
Definitely I recommend that book. I think I read that book about 5 times over.
Yeah, I mean it's good. That's why I asked you where you got that knowledge and stuff, because you just you have to have a mentor. You have to have people
mentorship is important.
That help you out.
Getting the formulas, like I knew. So I told them like the number was always on my first deal. Just to backtrack, it was always 20,000. But the psychological part of it was, if I tell him 15, he's gonna think like he won that battle. He's gonna think that he won that negotiation, when in fact my number was 20,000 all along. Right. So it was setting those low expectations, bringing him up, getting that formula, which is that 50% formula for land, and that's how I was able to do it.
No, that's great, and you learned. And the thing is, you learned it, and then you applied it.
Yes.
A lot of people read books and they think, oh, well, I read Think and Grow Rich, but have you applied everything that Think and Grow Rich brings to the table? And more than likely they haven't, because there's a lot going on there. But you did. I applaud you for that. Doing that. That's awesome. Let's get into, like, right now. You get a deal.
Yeah.
Because now you're in a different level.
Yeah. So now I'm pretty established. So I do the networking events. People bring me deals. I put it on my list. I add $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 on top, and I sell them. I sell them on my community. I have a WhatsApp community. We could probably drop the link there. It's only like $150 to join, one-time membership fee, and then that way you can get my deals, add JVs on top, and we can make some money together.
Okay. All right. So you basically then have that group that you basically have community. Like a private community that anybody that's in there, you go ahead and say, hey, I have XYZ property. Boom. Bam. They come to you and say, hey, I love that property.
Yes.
Or you might have 5 people say, I love it. And then you could just basically, you're reselling it to these guys, which is great because they get a deal. They don't have to go out looking for it. You could bring it to them. So I think that's really helpful, really, really helpful. Tell me, so let's get into this one. Your car, how exciting and how was it to get your car? Because I'm sure you were at a point that you're saying, I'm making all this money, but damn, I'm not driving the car that I want to drive. Tell me, that how did that make you feel?
I've always liked speed. So I would like a Yamaha GP 1800. So it's a supercharged GP jet ski.
Okay.
It goes about like 70-80 miles per hour, supercharged, and it's off market blue as well. And it was just always one of my dream, like on my vision board to get a C8 Corvette.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so how did you once how long did it take you to get your dream car?
About last year. I placed an order. Order took me about 6 months, and I ended up buying a pre-owned one for not that much money. It was like $75,000.
Wow.
It was good. Wow. Less than 2,000 miles with warranty.
No, that's awesome.
So
that's
it was
awesome.
good. It was good, and at the end of the day, it's all marketing, you know. So
yeah.
it's definitely brought back the money that I spent on it, because whenever I go to appointments, they see the car, they wanted the business, and plus we live in Miami, so it's just the flashiness of Miami, I guess.
No, but it's a badass car, really badass. I love it. So what other nuggets that you could give somebody that might be thinking of maybe getting into this type of market, or even something that an entrepreneur might some advice that you might give some entrepreneur, or maybe one of your nuggets, like
So I mean, it all goes back to the formula, right? So it's just if you have a formula, stick to it. I knew that if I got on the phones and made 500 phone calls, I'd make one closed sale, which would amount to $10,000, right? And again, it's not taking no for an answer, right? So for every no, that should be your motivation, because eventually you're gonna find a yes, and eventually that yes is gonna turn into dollar signs.
Right. No, that's good.
Persistence is key, guys.
Nice. So wake up every day, do what it is that you have on your vision board, because you mentioned you have a vision board.
1,000%, yeah. I recommend, if you guys don't have a vision board, I recommend to do one at least every year.
Yeah, that's good advice. The reason I wanted to get you on here is because I wanted people to know who you are. I wanted to learn more about you and what you do. It's good that do you have also like an email list that you send out, or you only using...
So I send out we send out deals Monday through Friday, and we also have the deals, the special deals in the community, so WhatsApp group chat.
So do you consider the WhatsApp group more of a like closed community?
Because we have the events there, so every time we have an event, we let people know. On Mondays we have the marketing Mondays, so you could market, if you have a roofing company, if you have a lending company, you don't just have to go through me. You can, I let people also market their lending services. I want the buyer or the client to get the best rate available, even if it doesn't come from me, it's fine.
No, that's good. That's good. I have you on the show, and I lend myself. It doesn't, this is more about how can I help somebody else.
Exactly.
Not how you help yourself.
No, and it goes back. I mean, it all goes back. The more people you help, the more people like that it's gonna go good for you.
Right. Right.
So it all goes back.
I agree. I agree with that. So all right. Well, I wanna make sure that you give me all this information, all this contact information of yours, so I could get you on there and get people, subscribing to your channel, subscribing to your platform, and I appreciate your time, and thank you for being on the show,
man. Thank you, brother.